Welcome to Modern Psychedelics, where we explore the transformations made possible through intentional engagement with psychedelics. This podcast will help you integrate high consciousness living into the everyday and deepen the work ignited by altered states. You can expect balanced and grounded conversations around therapeutic, ceremonial, and recreational containers. My name is Lana Pribic, your host and guide. I am a 3-time certified professional life coach, and I work with people who want to integrate higher levels of consciousness into their daily lives so they can feel more peace, fulfillment, and connection. After all, our time here on Earth is so brief, so let's make sure we're really living. The song you hear is called Lost Horizon by Peace Sign. All right, let's journey. If you have been feeling low on energy, sluggish, or just out of balance, I have something to share with you. It's a natural solution that's been used for centuries, Shilajit. You may have seen this black tar-like supplement all over the internet these days, and that's for good reason. I personally started using natural Shilajit this summer, and let me tell you, the energy boost is quite impressive. And that's because Shilajit resin is a naturally occurring substance that is found high in the Altai Mountains, and it's formed over centuries by a gradual decomposition of certain plants and by the action of microorganisms. This stuff truly comes directly from nature. Shilajit is an incredible Ayurvedic supplement. It's packed with over 80 minerals and fulvic acid, which helps to detoxify the body, support hormonal balance, and enhance nutrient absorption, amongst a plethora of other benefits. Not only have I noticed an increase in my energy levels, but even my menstrual symptoms have become almost non-existent. I notice that when I take the Shilajit more consistently, my body does not get the cramps and the PMS symptoms that I usually do. So my go-to way of using Shilajit is I mix the natural Shilajit Nutri honey in my decaf coffee every morning, and I like that the honey just adds a little bit of sweetness. I personally love natural Shilajit because they are known for their premium quality Shilajit, which is rigorously tested, contaminant-free resin sourced from the pristine Altai Mountains. If you want to naturally increase your intake of vitamins and minerals and really feel these benefits, head over to naturalshilajit.com and use the code LANA10OFF to get 10% off your first order. That's Natural Shilajit, SHILAJIT.com, and Lana, LANA, 10 off to get 10% off your first order. I've linked that all for you in the show notes. Thank you so much to Natural Shilajit for sponsoring today's show. Let's get back to the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Modern Psychedelics podcast. My name is Lana. I'm your host here. Going on to year. Actually, oh my gosh, I just realized today is literally the 5th year anniversary of the podcast. I'm pretty sure it was Valentine's Day 2020 that I released the first ever episode. Hold up. Let me just check on that real quick. Yeah, February 15th, 2021. So 4th year. Sorry, this is the 4th year anniversary of the podcast. So if you've been here since the beginning, wow, you're a real one. Shout out to you. Yeah, happy 4 years. We are in season 5 of the show now. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. Today was a bit of a struggle. Actually, it was a really big struggle. I knew that my thing to do today on this beautiful, snowy Friday was to sit down and record this episode. And I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about. It was going to be a solo episode. It's like 1:40 p.m. I definitely intended to record this hours ago. It's just been one of those days. It's been a bit of a strugglesville over here in my life. And I thought, you know what? Let's make a podcast episode about that because I do believe that I am in a specific type of energy, a specific type of vibe because I am going to be doing Iboga in about 2 months, a month and a half. I don't know. It's going to be the end of March, beginning of April. And there's this thing that happens before a psychedelic ceremony, a big journey. Iboga was huge for me the first time that I did it, and I can really sense and feel that it's going to be even bigger this time around. And so when there's a big experience like this coming up, I have noticed that there is this period of pre work that happens. There's this period of shit hitting the fan, of things just coming to the surface. This like volcano is erupting in my life, and everything is coming to the surface in anticipation of this experience that's about to happen. And I want to talk about that today because we talk a lot about preparation and doing the diet and making sure you have clear intentions and managing your energy and reducing screen time and all of that. And that's all very covered. But there's this pre work that happens. And this is different than just the preparation. The pre work is all of the content, all of the shit that bubbles to the surface and starts rearing its head at you, asking you to look at it. And I have been going through this so intensely this time. And I think it's because I'm at a point with medicine work, and I'm also at a point in my life where I'm just done with the BS. And I am so proud of myself in a lot of ways for creating certain transformations and certain shifts. I embarked on my journey with psychedelics 5 years ago in a more like healing and ceremonial context because my mental health was at an all-time low. I had suicidal ideation. I didn't actually know how to live in this world. My confidence was very low. I had no sense of who I was, and whoever I was not safe to be in the world. And over the years, I've made incredible progress with my mental health. I would say my mental health, even when I'm navigating these very challenging periods, like my mental health is really great. My energy is great. I've made incredible changes in my health and in my lifestyle. And I'm really quite happy and thrilled. And then there's these other things that have not gotten enough attention over the years that I have been devoting my healing to my mental health and my emotional health and my physical health that are really starting to bubble up. And so, with this Iboga ceremony that's coming up, which by the way, I shared a little bit about that in the first subscribers only podcast. So, you can find out more about how that came to be, where I'm going. I am going to a new place this time. I'm not going back to Iboga Wellness Center, which is where I went to do my first Iboga experience. I'm trying a new facilitator, which I'm really excited about. So I shared about that in the first subscribers only podcast. And if you're a subscriber, you're actually going to hear this episode the day that I record it, and you're going to get an ad-free listening experience. So you get early access to episodes, you get ad-free and intro-free listening, and then you also get a bonus monthly episode where I answer any and all of your questions. This is such a tangent, but if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. There was such an uptick in subscribers when I launched that first subscribers only podcast. So thank you so much for subscribing. But if you want to hear more about like how this whole Iboga part 2 came to be for me, this is going to be 2.5 years after my first ceremony with Iboga. And I share a lot more in that secret podcast, the subscribers only podcast, about where I'm going, my intentions for it, a little bit more of that process in depth. But for the purposes of today, okay, and this episode about pre-work, wow, it's just been a lot. It's been a lot. And as a result of navigating a lot of these internal energetic blockages and these internal unprocessed traumas, life's been really interesting. So I turned 34 in January. I have been sick 2 times in the last 30 days. The last time I was sick with the flu, I was so concerned for my life. I woke up in a cold sweat, which I haven't been sick like that in years. I don't even know if I've ever been sick like that. So I've been sick twice. And I also rented an Airbnb with my friends for my cottage. It's my annual birthday winter cottage that we do. And I actually set fire to my Airbnb. The fire department came and all. It wasn't my fault. The Airbnb host did not get the fire inspection that they were clearly due for. There was like a faulty floorboard, and what happened was actually a coal fell out of the fireplace, which is normal and fine. That's why the stone is always there to catch the coals. But what happened was actually one of the coals fell through the floorboard and into the basement. It hit an electrical wire and it started a fire. So it's been intense. And I believe that all of these kind of external things are happening because I'm navigating this like war within myself. And I've actually started going back to therapy a couple of months ago when all of this was resurfacing. There's psychological content that has been surfacing from a old relationship that has been sitting there unprocessed and unlooked at. And that's been really coming up for me. I am, looking at my daddy issues. You guys have heard me talk about my daddy issues many times on the podcast. It's what a lot of my medicine work tends to revolve around. There's like such a deep layer of that is coming up for me. And it just feels very real. It feels very serious. And this is the pre work, right? It's all of this stuff that's coming up. I'm completely in my victim energy right now, which is an interesting experience because of the psychedelics, because of the 5-MeO. Mostly, there's a level of awareness that is always there. That seed of consciousness is always there. And so I'm navigating a very low consciousness, low energy state from the perspective of the observer, from this high consciousness place. So it's been interesting watching this all unfold. And you guys, I even had a little bit of a script for this podcast episode, and I've decided I'm just going to ad hoc it and just go with the flow and just, treat this as an experiment of what is it like for me to just set up my mic, especially when I'm in this very catabolic victim energy where shit is literally burning around me. Would it be like for me to just sit down and record this episode for you guys? So let's do that. Where I really want to anchor this conversation in is when we sign up for a psychedelic experience, we will often think that the work begins with the ceremony, with the retreat, with the experience. But I have found that to just not be the case. I find that the work very much begins the moment you make that energetic commitment. Like I'm telling you, the moment that I finalize this Iboga retreat with the place that I'm going, like everything just started coming to the surface and it's so energetic. And I really feel the presence of Iboga with me. For example, I did some medicine at the cottage with my friends, a very low dose of, it was MDMA that night. I did MDMA one night and 2CB the other night. And I was going to bed, navigating the come down, and I could feel Iboga with me. And even I've been having these waking dream states where I'm in bed and I'm sleeping, but I'm having like a lucid sleep experience where I'm very much awake while I'm asleep, which is a mirror of the Iboga experience. I can really feel this medicine working with me. It's very like aggressive in a way, in the sense, what do I mean by aggressive? It's very in my face. I feel that Iboga is already working with me to bring these things to the surface. And if this has happened to you in the past, and if you feel like your life is starting to just fall apart and shit's just getting crazy and things are getting so much worse when you have this upcoming ceremony, I want to assure you that that is not just okay. That is a good thing. It is a positive thing. It means that you're already in process. Like, I feel like I am in ceremony right now. My life right now feels like this major, challenging psychedelic ceremony. And I don't know if you're going through that right now as well. I just want to give you some reassurance that that is the medicine working with you already. Medicine is energetic. It's not physiological. It's energetic. These plant spirits, gosh, it's so mysterious to me how it all works, but they truly are with us before we even consume them. And I'm really feeling that. So if shit is hitting the fan for you, that's just a sign that the work has already begun. And I hope that in my long ramble, I'm already 13 minutes in here, in my long ramble here today, I offer you some validation, but hopefully I can offer also some tips and insight on how to navigate this pre work, which is so far beyond just the process of preparation. Did you know that your problems don't come from the situations or circumstances themselves? Your problems come from how you approach them. More specifically, your problems come from the level of consciousness that you approach them with. It's pretty simple. Here's how it works. Anytime something happens to us, we can approach the situation from various levels of consciousness. You can come from a low level of consciousness that perpetuates the problem and keeps you stuck, drained, hopeless, and under stress. Or you can come from a high level of consciousness that allows you to move forward because you can more easily tap into creative solutions and access your intuition. The good news is that at any given time, you can choose how you show up and therefore have a massive impact on how your life unfolds. The trick is to be aware of all of the options available to you, which most of us aren't, which is why most people feel stuck and unable to move forward. But that job you hate, your codependent relationship, or the numbing anxiety of not knowing your purpose in life can be the exact thing that moves you forward and gives you clarity, as long as you're approaching it from a high level of consciousness. In my coaching program, I will help you become hyper aware of your current approach and help you shift to higher levels of consciousness. By addressing blockages keeping you stuck, which are often subconscious, we unlock flow, acceptance, peace, joy, all of those things we want more of in life. And this is not woo-woo. I am using a research-validated coaching method that's benefited thousands and has been studied and developed over 25 years plus. Whether you're corporate or spiritual or both, this is an approach that offers practical integration into everyday life. And it happens to pair just brilliantly with psychedelic work. High consciousness living is achievable daily, not just during psychedelic experiences. Psychedelics illuminate the path, but it's our job to walk it every day. My coaching program will provide you with a grounded and operational way to integrate high consciousness into your daily life. I am currently onboarding new souls into my practice. So if you would like to learn more about the program, just visit modernpsychedelics.net/coaching. I've linked that for you in the show notes. Or if you are ready to apply and get on a call with me to see if this program is right for you, just go to modernpsychedelics.net/apply. That's modernpsychedelics.net/apply. All right. I can't wait to hear from you. Let's get back to the episode. So how else might this look? So like I mentioned, psychological content might start resurfacing. You might start feeling really fucking triggered all the time. Like even if you are in a place where you're emotionally regulated and you've done a lot of work, you've done a lot of clearing, you might start to feel very triggered by things that even you used to be triggered by and you thought that you dealt with. That's okay. It's just a deeper layer of that trigger that is wanting to be explored and that is revealing itself to you. It can look like old wounds resurfacing, things that you've already healed or looked at. You can have an old wound with a new perspective coming up to the surface to be looked at in a new way. There's a new element, there's another element there, there's a layer there that is still creating some sort of tension in your life that the medicine wants you to release. And like I mentioned before, it can just look like fucking chaos in your life. It can just look like external chaos, whether it's your immune system being shit like mine has been, things falling apart, maybe it's arguments, maybe it's losing opportunities, maybe it's financial troubles. Oh my gosh, I can't even Like one of my big areas in life right now that I'm working on is financial abundance and wealth. I'm really ready to claim that and step into that and stop worrying about money in my life. My scarcity mindset has been illuminated to the extreme lately. I have been put in financial situations that have put me into such a fight or flight mode that is illuminating for me this scarcity. And it's so deep and so primal, and it's clearly so ancestral as well. And, that seat of consciousness, that higher place of consciousness that I have access to, is watching that, and it's saying, okay, yes, this is hard and this is shitty, but also look at your reaction. Look at how much stress this is creating for you. There's something here for you to look at. There's something here for you that can be much better than it is now. So, hopefully, that's a good example for you of what this pre work might look like. Another layer of that is some old patterns, limiting beliefs, and conditioned responses might start to become very illuminated. So that's what I meant when I said you might start getting triggered a lot. Those triggers are your limiting beliefs, they're your patterns that are not necessarily going to take you to where you want to go in life. And they are conditioned responses that you want to be done with. The beauty there is that at least you can see them now. And so this whole process of pre-work is like almost giving us the material. It's feeding us the material and the content and the blockages that we can take to ceremony. And part of this pre-work involves actually doing the work, which I'm going to get into in a second. The main thing I really want to highlight here is that these things aren't happening to us. And so it really helps to have this seat of consciousness, this bird's eye perspective, this awareness, this observation of what is happening, which is the real you, right? That's you, the watcher, the eye of consciousness, the seat of consciousness, the observer. That's the real you. And so, as soon as you catch yourself in this victim energy or in these triggers or just in the chaos of it all, remember that this is not happening to you. It is truly happening for you. And I hope that this is an orientation and a perspective that you can take on. These things are happening for us. They're simply illuminating the things that still need to be worked on, that are still holding us back. For me, this is just a sign that the medicine is already starting to work by bringing these things to the surface. So, if life is feeling overwhelming, if relationships, works, and emotions or external circumstances seem to be intense, this chaos is not a setback. It's actually the thing that's moving you forward. It's coming up to be released. Another thing that's been really coming up for me is this, with this victim energy, the sense of responsibility that I feel and take on as an empathetic intuitive. So I've been really learning about my empathetic intuitive gifts lately and the ways that I take on people's energy a lot, and the ways that I allow the chaos that is within other people to actually enter me and enter my energetic body and field. And that's been a really big teacher. That's another example of something that I have been navigating lately with all of this pre work. So, another thing that might start happening for you during this pre work phase is dreams. Dreams may start to be more vivid. You might start to remember your dreams. You might start to get messages. People from the past might start popping up in your dreams. And you may even experience lucid dreaming like I am experiencing. And, in working with my therapist, she has told me to start a dream journal and to keep track of what's coming up for me in my dreams. And the interesting thing about dreams is I think it's like evidence that psychological content is being processed and that things are moving and that things are shifting. You may also start to feel more sensitive in life. So, yes, triggered, but also more sensitive, as in more aware of energy, emotions, and even of your physical body. And this can be for yourself, but also maybe for others. You may start to recognize some empathetic intuition where you are able to really connect and feel other people in a deeper way. So the dreams and the increased sensitivity, again, it could be an element of the pre-work. It could be a way that these things that need to surface are presenting themselves to you. So finding ways to work with that is really helpful. So, I want to talk a little bit about how to navigate the pre work and to really prepare yourself. So, I already mentioned this, but simply being aware that this is pre work is the first step. Really trusting that the biggest shift that you can make is understanding that this is part of the journey. This is part of the work. This is the medicine already working with you. You're not failing. This isn't a sign of failure. This isn't a sign of a setback. It's a sign that you're in the process of energetic transformation. And it's actually a very natural part of energetic transformation. We cannot transform something if we do not first hold it and become aware of it and become acutely aware of the ways that it still is very much alive for us. So, if and when this discomfort arises, remind yourself that the medicine is working with me. This is the medicine working with me. It's not just about the ceremony. So instead of resisting what comes up, lean in with curiosity, with acceptance, and with love, and honestly, with laughter. Like when we went through the Airbnb this last weekend, thankfully everyone was fine and we caught it early enough that the house didn't burn down. But we brought a lot of laughter and lightness to it and made the most sense of it. It's all like a big cosmic joke. I see it as like the universe winking at you in this really humorous way. And so let's play with that. Let's dance with that. Let's wink back at the universe. It's okay. Got it. Got it. I get what you're saying, universe. Another important element of navigating this pre-work is just keeping track of what's coming up for you and organizing your thoughts and experiences in a way that help you to create some sort of intention and some sort of purpose for your medicine experience coming up. As soon as I realized I was going to be sitting with Iboga, I started a note on my iPhone called Iboga Retreat number 2. And I just started as like anytime any trigger, any blockage, anything that came up that I was like, oh, I'd like to work on that, I would just write it down. And it's the app where I track my progress with certain things as they come up and as I process them more deeply. And the really cool thing about this is that you can do like this pre work, you can sign up for a medicine experience with a specific intention in mind. And then as you navigate and lean into this pre work, you will find that maybe your intentions will have changed because maybe you've actually already worked through that thing that you wanted to work through in the ceremony, or perhaps you have a much like deeper understanding of it. And so you're going into ceremony at this elevated state of understanding about whatever this block or this trigger is for you. Just finding some way to keep track of everything that's going on and paying attention to recurring themes, specifically on an energetic level. So, a recurring theme for me right now is scarcity, fear of scarcity, like fear of not having enough, fear of not being able to survive in this world. There's a lot of victim energy that's coming up for me, which is really weird because I don't usually live in victim energy, but there's obviously some of it still there because it's coming up. And then also this responsibility that I take for other people and for, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it because it's a lot of like family of origin stuff that I don't necessarily want to be sharing about publicly. Like I'll probably be sharing more specifically about my process and what exactly I'm healing on the subscribers only platform. But there's like relationships with family members that are very codependent. And it's very complicated. It's very complex. And I'm sorry that I'm not going to be going into more detail, but as I'm like working through it and going deeper into it, I notice these themes. And so those themes are what can help you to formulate your intention With intentions, I would say it's good to stick more to themes and energetics rather than situations in your life specifically, because the situation is simply a expression of the underlying energetic inhibition that is going on. So, really paying attention to the themes and the energy around it is great. If you want to dive deep into this, I am a bit of an energy ninja. I am very good at spotting these underlying energetic patterns. It's what I do as a core energy coach. And I am actually onboarding new clients right now. So if you're looking to like really dive deep into this process and have support around that, check out my coaching program. And I would love to work with you to really uncover these underlying energetic themes and patterns that are very deep that might be holding you back from the things that you want to create in your life. And as you do this work, just remember to also reflect on what is shifting, what's changing, what's coming up for you. Another tip that I have for you guys is to enlist support. So I just did a little promo there for my coaching services. Obviously, I'm an incredible coach and I'm amazing at what I do with helping people to uncover these limiting patterns and beliefs about themselves. But sometimes coaching isn't necessarily what you need at the time. When this psychological content around this old relationship started surfacing and this deeper layer of triggers with my father started coming up and my codependency started coming up, like I realized that what I actually needed was to work with a therapist. I have not worked with a therapist for, I would say, 4 or 5 years. And I actually reached out to my old therapist, who is absolutely incredible. She's not even into psychedelics. She only knows about psychedelics and plant medicine from working with me. I meet with her every other week. And it was just very clear to me that what I needed was a therapeutic process. I needed to have a therapeutic process with a therapist that I trust and who I already have a rapport with, who already knows so much of my history, to really work through some of these relational traumas. I would say, like these relational things that were coming up for me, these relational patterns that are just, oh my gosh, they're coming up so intensely and so strongly. I'll also mention that I have had like several arguments with my best friend lately, like really deep arguments. Like I've hosted retreats with this person. We're very close. You know, she's very much deeply on the medicine path as well, and is very much like a friend that I have been calling in over the years, as in like someone who can really just meet me where I'm at in terms of honesty and truth and willingness to like really build a real friendship with someone. And we've had a few arguments in the past few months that brought up a lot of fear of abandonment for me. And so there's all this relational stuff that's coming up for me, of course, because what I'm calling in right now is a partner. Like I've been single for going on 6 years now. And so, of course, all this relational stuff is coming up for me. And it was really clear to me that what I needed was a therapist. And I will say that therapy is going really well. I think I've had 6 sessions with her, maybe even 8. Yeah, I would say probably 6 sessions. And the work has been really deep and really beautiful and really supportive of helping me to prepare for my iboga ceremony coming up. So enlist support however you can, whether that's a therapist because what you need is to enter a therapeutic process, or if it's a coach, if you're really ready for that forward momentum energy that a coach can offer you and you're ready to really start seeing the ways that you are holding yourself back. You know, it's up to you to decide. If anyone needs a referral for a therapist, I know quite a few, just DM me and I can help you out with that. Really, with enlisting support to help you navigate this pre-work phase, if you buy into my theory here that the pre-work is the medicine already working with you, the medicine is already showing you something and illuminating these things for you. Imagine how much more powerful it would be to show up on ceremony day, to show up for your retreat, having already worked through such a deep process and such a deep layer of whatever it is that you are working on. And you know, I was sharing this with my friend Kev, who you guys know. He's been on the podcast. He's one of my best friends. And I was sharing with him, like, oh my God, the pre work is so intense. And he was like, what do you mean by pre work? And I was like, oh, it's just like the work before the work. And I explained to him, and he was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Because then once you're in the psychedelic state and once you're in the ceremony, it sounds like it would just be a lot less jarring for you to start already confronting these things within yourself rather than like waiting to be in a vulnerable psychedelic state and to just be hit with all of these things. So I think doing this pre work is also a way to, as Kev said, it's a way to maybe possibly make the medicine experience itself a little more gentle and a little less jarring, which I am definitely all about. I don't think I've ever been this nervous and scared for a medicine experience, which I know is crazy to say because I've already sat with Iboga. But there's something about everything that's coming up for me that just feels very clear. And I'm scared. I am scared of what's going to come up, how it's going to come up, if I'm going to be able to handle it. But I really trust Iboga. I really trust the medicine. I really trust the facilitator that I'm going to be working with. So I guess my way of navigating some of this fear is doing this pre work. And maybe that's like a control pattern that I have. I don't know. I don't know. But I hope this is helpful for you guys. The next tip that I have for you, and this is something that I can definitely take my own advice on because I've definitely fallen off of feeling regulated in my nervous system and in my body after being sick twice. I fell into some bad habits of watching TV excessively because what else are you going to do? So I can definitely use my own advice when I say this. But yeah, engaging in practices, routines, rituals that regulate the nervous system. And this is advice for just general psychedelic preparation, I would say. But this pre work phase, especially if you're as deep in it as I am right now, it can be really energetically intense. So, grounding practices are really great. You know what that is for you, whether it's walking in nature, working out, movement, dancing, meditation, breath work, whatever it is for you that will help you ground and regulate, engage in that. I was doing a lot of Pilates before I got sick for the second time. So I've really been enjoying working out again. And I'm planning on starting running soon. Maybe not this week because we literally just got hit with a blizzard here in Ontario. But working out is a great way to deal with some of that emotional dysregulation and just managing that screen time. I have downloaded this app called Opal. It is amazing. Shout out to Antonia for introducing me to this because I can't tell you guys how much I was struggling with screen time, which I'm sure so many of you can relate to. But this app, and I have a link if you want to try it out. It helps you limit screen time. And I've set a limit of, I think, 90 minutes for Instagram daily, which I used to hit all of the time by like midday. And 90 minutes is a lot, but because my work is on social media, that's the amount of time I've given myself. Since I've downloaded Opal, I have not once hit my 90-minute limit on Instagram, and it's really helping. That's just like a nice hot tip for you guys if you also struggle with screen time during this pre-work phase, but you really want to like take care of your energy and just limit your intake to dysregulating energies, taking in a lot of news and a lot of influence and all of that, just being mindful of that as you're navigating this pre-work. So to summarize, the main message I want to send you guys off with is that your journey doesn't start when you take the medicine. It starts when you commit, when you make that energetic commitment. That is you communicating with the medicine, with the spirit of Iboga, with the spirit of ayahuasca, with the spirit of the mushrooms. Even with synthetic medicines, I do believe that they have a spirit themselves and an energy themselves that can work with us long before and long after we actually consume them. So if you are navigating discomfort and chaos and emotions and literal and metaphorical fires, it's all part of it. It's all part of the work. The more awareness that we have of this phase, and I hope that me sharing this podcast is helping you increase your awareness of it. The more awareness we have of this, the more we're able to receive and integrate from the psychedelic experience. And this is really what we mean when we say that psychedelics are a path. Medicine work is a path. It's not just about the ceremony. And my intention with this podcast is really to help you make the most out of your psychedelic experiences. Really like maximize for the outcomes is what I'm trying to do with modern psychedelics. So I hope that this conversation around pre-work has been useful. And again, if you are navigating pre-work, integration, or even if you're just on a journey of integrating high consciousness, living high consciousness energy into your life, I am onboarding new clients in my coaching practice. If you haven't listened to the previous episode with Faith and you're thinking of joining my program, I definitely recommend checking that out. She was so generous in her sharing around what 6 months of working together really looks like and the shifts and energetic shifts that she was able to experience in that time. My prices are also going to be increasing in the coming month or so. So if you have been on the fence, if you have been considering it, apply now, lock in those current rates. My fee might seem high, but after putting so many people through my program, I am realizing that the value that one gains from working with me one-on-one for 6 months is honestly, it's priceless, because what I'm doing is helping set people up to live more empowered, more conscious, more aware, more highly energetic, more highly conscious lives. And, how do you even put a price on that? So, like I said, the prices for my coaching program will be going up. I'm also revamping the self-paced course portion of the program, and we just moved everyone over to a new platform that's really beautiful, and I'll be upgrading all of the videos and modules in there this year. So really excited about that. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it on social media. If you're a fan of the podcast, please rate the show 5 stars. We are at 199 reviews on Spotify. If you listen on Spotify, please go ahead and just tap those 3 dots at the top of the Modern Psychedelics podcast page, click rate show, and smash those 5 stars and get us to 200 reviews. That would be amazing. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know how you're navigating pre-work. You can get in touch with me on Instagram, over email. And if you are a subscriber, or if you are not a subscriber and you have any questions for me at all, you can email me, you can DM me on Instagram, or you can just drop your questions down in the comments on YouTube or Spotify, and I will make sure to answer them in February's Ask Me Anything secret podcast for subscribers. All right. Have a wonderful day. I wish you all the blessings on your journey with medicine. And remember that you are going to get out of this work what you put into it. I can't wait to share more with you about my upcoming Iboga retreat. We will be releasing several episodes around that whole experience. So this is just the quiet little build up to that. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to and supporting the show. To stay in touch, sign up for my mailing list, which can be found in the show notes or on modernpsychedelics.net. If this episode sparked something within, please let me know by leaving a review of the Modern Psychedelics podcast on Apple and Spotify. This really helps to share these messages with those who need them, which is the whole reason why I do what I do. And if you haven't already, come join the ongoing conversation over on Instagram with other beautiful souls. We have an incredible and conscious community over at the handle Modern Psychedelics. And don't forget that the work begins after you come back down to earth. And I'm standing shoulder to shoulder, doing it with you.